Okay. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Oh,
Okay.
I'm in the intro part?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
okay.
stand here. You can
I
stand
thought
here.
you were just going to pan to me later.
Okay.
So we run, as part of our sustainability program, we don't use farm labor contractors.
Oh, okay.
So we run we have two year-round crews, and they're all women's crews.
And a more native one,
Yeah.
it doesn't really need any of those things,
No,
the extra
doesn't need
things.
any fungicide, doesn't need any protection.
rootstock.
And it was actually about a half mile up the road at my great-grandfather's house.
Oh,
and there's
this barn?
This barn.
Was
and
that
there's stories
a half mile up the road?
up the road.
So we're gonna get a close-up of the Norton Bottle, which has a cult following, I'm told. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Tara, a farmer from Northern California, and this channel is mainly about farming, but sometimes it's not. And today we are going on a field trip. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are out in Clarksburg, California at a winery and vineyard called Heringer Estates. And I'm here with Stephen Heringer, and you are a sixth generation farmer?
I am a sixth generation farmer.
Sixth generation farmer. So he's got one generation on me.
Yes.
I'm fifth.
The seventh generation's around now. They're just not
They're
out
around.
on the ranch yet.
Okay. So I am meeting with him today. We're gonna do a hand harvest. We're gonna look at the winery. It's gonna be a really fun day. So do you just want to give us a little history?
Yeah, so sixth generation farming family. So again, we've been farming in Clarksburg since 1868.
Okay, so they're OG.
Yeah, definitely OG.
Yeah.
Definitely OG. So yeah, no, it's the farm, obviously, as farms do, have transitioned through a lot of different changes over the number of years. Used to grow a lot of diversified different crops: safflower, corn, sugar beets.
Oh
so
yeah, sugar beets used to be here out here.
Used to be big time in sugar beets. Rice, alfalfa. We used to ship alfalfa pellets. We had an alfalfa processing plant.
Okay.
We used to ship
pretty big.
alfalfa pellets to Japan. And then planted our first vineyard in 1972.
Okay.
I think there's close to 20,000 acres of wine grapes in the Clarksburg AVA now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was this your grandpa then that planted?
My grandfather and my dad was back on the ranch working at the time.
Okay.
They planted the very first vineyard in 1972. And then the home ranch, the one that we're going to be looking at today, was planted in 1998.
1998.
Was when this piece of property got transitioned from.
So when you guys started, was it just a couple acres?
No, they started big. At the time, my dad and uncle were back managing the ranch and the properties, and they got a fantastic planting contract.
Oh, there we go.
From Raymond Vineyards.
That's kind of how you got to get started.
That's how you got to get started. So
Yeah.
they got a fantastic planting contract from Raymond Vineyards in Napa.
Wow.
Yeah. So they actually got their planting contract was for, this is 22 years ago now, was for more. They were making more per ton than the district average for Chardonnay grapes right now, 22 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of
sad.
It's really sad. It's really sad. So
oh.
it's kind of very shocking, but very, very sad. But you know, so yeah, but they off to a great start is kind of the moral of the story there.
Like that is great.
This 100 acres was planted to Chardonnay under that planting contract.
Okay.
And that was going phenomenally until 9/11 happened.
Really?
Yeah, and then 9/11, Raymond's big market was the airline industry.
Oh,
and after 9/11,
changed
September 11th, it changed everything. People stopped flying, and they basically, they ended up they bought out the contract. So basically, they had 2 years remaining.
And
they came and just paid my dad, here's where the money we'd owe you. We don't want the fruit.
Wow.
You can try and sell it.
I never even thought about it affecting farms like that.
Yep. And so that was like 2004, and so then we kind of pieced along for a little bit, and then that's kind of the story that we'll get into out in the vineyard about how the market downturned on Chardonnay. In the late 2000s, and that's kind of what started our new business model.
Okay.
So now,
what's the point of it being thrown on this table first instead of directly into the bin?
So we can sort out which ones are the ones that are bad and take it off the leaves a little quicker.
Okay. Make it faster when it gets to the sorting table. Okay, so So we are out harvesting this morning.
Yep.
And you guys started around 6 a.m.
We started at about 4 a.m.
Oh, 4 a.m.
About
okay.
4 a.m.
For me, when we harvested, I just harvested a couple weeks ago.
What variety do you have?
Sauvignon Blanc.
Nice.
Yeah, my first harvest. It was
Woohoo!
really
That's always
great.
very exciting.
It was so exciting.
Good.
So we started at 7 p.m. and harvested till 7 a.m.
Yes.
So why do you guys start at 4 a.m.?
Well, so it varies. So we start when we machine harvest, which I'm sure you machine harvested your fruit. So we start at 8 p.m., 10 p.m. It just kind of depends on the temperatures.
Okay.
Really, people always ask the question like, hey, why do you guys harvest at night? Why does grape harvest always at night? And really, it's one thing, temperature.
Temperature.
But that temperature controls a lot of dynamics. So that controls the fruit quality. So just like your refrigerator, you want the fruit cold. The colder the fruit is, the more turgid it is, the better it holds up through the harvesting process.
Yeah, I've heard that. Okay.
Machinery operates better when it's cooler.
Easier
your
on the
team,
crew.
when they're doing a lot of work. I mean, this is hard work.
So what are we harvesting right now?
So we're harvesting Grenache. This is interesting. So the white tape, this has been grafted.
Okay.
So that's
right here.
tape. That's it. So this originally was a Chardonnay plant when the vineyard was originally planted.
Okay.
It was Chardonnay. My dad and uncle planted this 100 acres to Chardonnay in the late 90s, and in 2007 there was a massive downturn in the Chardonnay market. Like in about 2007, 2008.
Okay.
You couldn't give Chardonnay away.
Oh,
basically.
really? Isn't that weird how that happens?
It is super weird. So my brother had just come back to the farm about 4 or 5 years earlier, and he was kind of scratching his head like, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this? And he had started his own wine label and had started a winery for the family. And so he's like, hey, it's, we're not getting any money for the fruit anyway.
Right.
Let's just take a year and transition the plants. So he started a graft over project, 6 different varieties. He tried a couple of different trellis systems and was basically just doing a lot of experimentation.
I was gonna say a big experiment.
Big experiment, like a big roll the dice.
Yeah.
And which farmers we're good at that.
Yeah.
Like we do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So basically planted 6 different varieties, and on about 10 acres, and started making wine out of it. Started doing trials. From that, we've now basically grown 24 different varieties on this property.
And how many acres is that?
This is 100 acres. This property is
24 varieties on 100 acres. That's a lot.
It is, and it's a totally crazy business model. From a vineyard perspective, as a manager, it's totally a massive headache.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you just roll into a 100-acre block with one plan.
Right.
Like, I've got 24 different plans for every operation we do for this 100-acre block.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
But it's totally modified, totally changed our business model from that. So instead of a majority of grape growers in California grow large blocks for bigger wineries.
Yeah.
And so we've totally gone into a niche market where we grow all these different varieties, and we want to be the one-stop shop of the highest quality grapes in Clarksburg for boutique and all these different wineries. So we sold, I think we're 65 wineries this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You sell your grapes to 65
wineries.
Holy smokes, that's a lot.
It is a lot, and some of them are very big. We do the big blocks, and then there's a lot of like this where it's like, oh hey, it's 2 tons of this variety, 3 tons over here, and they're picking another 2 tons over here, and that's all for one winery. And then, but we're doing that for 3 or 4 different wineries in a day. So you can come into the yard, and it is a lot to manage.
I just have one winery, and I was like already stressed.
Yes, no. So it's pretty normal on a really busy night in the peak of harvest season. We'll be picking for 10 different wineries, probably 10 or 11 different varieties.
Wow.
So it takes a phenomenal team, takes a phenomenal crew. We've got just a really we've developed it over the course of 10 years, and so but it's really fantastic. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Here's another fun fact. So have you ever seen a picking bin like that?
No, I have not actually. I didn't even notice that. I noticed the plastic and I was like, oh, they put plastic. but I've never seen a cardboard picking bin.
Right, so the reason we use the cardboard picking bins is these are actually going out of state.
Oh.
So we ship to wineries in about 13 different states.
Oh my God.
So these grapes are actually going back to Wisconsin. Because everybody knows California makes the best wine grapes, and Clarksburg especially. So it's a little tough back there, you know, given the environmental conditions to grow quality wine grapes. So, but there are still wineries back there. They're making their own wines, doing their own things. And so yeah, we ship to about 13 different states, about 20 different wineries out of state.
So do they have to put California on their bottles, or is that like a percentage thing?
Every state is, I don't even want to go into that.
Yeah, they have like a different percentage, right?
So there's a whole, so some can, some can't, some don't. That's just all, that's a whole sticky
So these
wicket
are just gonna get
state.
wrapped up and shipped.
Yeah, so basically we drop some dry ice in the center of those when we get in the yard. And the dry ice works two ways. One, it brings the core temperature down, but that's also why we pick at night. And then also throw a little bit of SO2 to stabilize it as a antimicrobial. And then yeah, pack them up, put them on a cold reefer truck, and they hit the road.
Yeah, I had no idea. I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
shipping grapes out of state.
They need wine in Illinois too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Okay, so this is all Grenache still, right?
Yep.
And it's a red wine.
Yep.
And what is it like? What is its flavor? Can you describe it? I know every year is different.
Try when we get into the tasting.
Every year is different, right?
But yeah, no. So this makes a light-bodied. So this isn't a heavy red. This makes a light-bodied, very fruit-forward, really tasty wine. We'll send you home with a bottle, and you can try it on YouTube. With your, you can have a little virtual tasting.
Yeah.
With your viewers. And,
I feel like I've had Grenache before. I've told my viewers this before. I'm still like learning reds.
Okay.
I've been very not great at drinking reds.
Try that.
Is it gonna taste like wine?
It tastes it tastes yummy. This is what it tastes like.
Oh, it almost tastes like the table grape.
Yeah.
Very sweet. I know people always ask me if we can eat them. I'm like, yes. They're just tiny and have seeds.
Tiny and have seeds. So.
Yeah, it is good.
Yep.
Snack. If you need a snack mid-harvest. All right, so what are some good farming practices you practice out here?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're really strive for, again, is a sixth generation farm. Family's been farming the ground for over 150 years. And it's important for both Mike, Stacy, and I to be able to have the ground in better condition. That's my brother and sister. To have the ground in better condition for our kids if they choose to come down this path than when we got it.
Yeah.
So all that is sustainability. So we follow the Lodi Rules program, which is a program that was developed out of Lodi. That's a sustainability program. And the thing that we like most about it is it keeps us up to date with the best industry practices. So every year we're getting a third-party audit by Protected Harvest is coming in. They send an auditor out. They actually review all of our records and it's very comprehensive. So the three components of it is social equitability. So basically want to make sure, hey, are we taking care of the crews? Are we paying good labor? Are we raising the value of the worker in the community? Yeah. Economically sustainable. So they're looking at finances, they're looking at the inputs into the vineyard, they're looking at, hey, is it profitable? They've got metrics for that. And then environmentally sustainability is kind of the third leg of the triangle.
What I feel like is the most important for us,
which
right?
is it's obviously it's all a balance. That's why it's the three legs, because you can be totally environmentally sustainable, but if you're not economically sustainable, then it doesn't matter. You're going to go out of business. You're not going to make it. You can be completely economically sustainable, but if you're destroying your land, then you're not going to make it either, because the next generation's not going to have anything to farm on.
Yeah, very true.
You know, and the same thing goes with the social equitable with the crews. If you're not taking care of your crews, if you're not taking care of your people, if nobody wants to work for you, then you're not going to be able to sustain that either. So, super excited. We've got multi-generation families working for us, where kids are coming back that parents have worked for us for 15, 20 years. That is awesome. And so that's the kind of culture, that's the thing that as a family we really want to create and we really love. So so really exciting. So like it's hard for me as a vineyard manager to look at this. So we went
you're not going to want to look at my vineyard then.
So we went herbicide free 3 years ago.
Okay, herbicide free. Wow, people are gonna love this. So,
as part of our sustainability
got a gold star.
we've gone herbicide free 3 years ago, and really it was our winemakers that, again, we're talking with a lot of different winemakers, and not all of them, but about 20% were like, hey, this is really important to me. It's really important to the community that I sell wine to. Yeah. Can you guys kind of start making this transition? Wow. And so we're in process on the transition. We just this year getting the equipment necessary, so it's still looking pretty rough.
Okay, and I see little raisins here on the ground.
Yes.
So what are the purpose of these guys?
Yeah, so with Grenache, we talked about Grenache being super vigorous.
Which we've already picked this, so we've missed it, but we saw them. We saw they were big.
But we actually, let's get ahead of the crew and then let's talk about that question.
Okay.
Okay, so you were asking about the little grape, the dried up clusters. So
on the ground.
So with Grenache, again, we talked about 24 different varieties and having 24 different management styles. So part of that is fruit thinning and adjusting the crop load each year to achieve that balance in the vine. So that's where we've come through and we've thinned. So part of the reason we fruit thin is we want every cluster to have its own space on the vine. Grenache, because it's so vigorous, these are actually dry farmed.
Dry farm.
So these get no water throughout the year.
No water.
Except for like 3 or 4 irrigations for fertilizer.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have inline on the risers that come up. We have basically a little shut on, shut off valve.
Yeah.
So we can individually shut on or off any row in the vineyard.
Wow.
So that we can manage the irrigation plan per variety if necessary. We don't do that as much. We've kind of gotten the balance that we want. And we just identified, so like Grenache gets shut off. You know, other more vigorous varieties that we've got on this block, like Nebbiolo and some of those others, they don't start getting water till like August. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
So anyway, but with the clusters, with the Grenache clusters, we found we actually cut, a majority of the time, we cut the main cluster off.
Oh, really?
And we just leave the wings.
Oh.
So we just leave the 2 little wings that come off of a normal cluster. We just leave those. And
that kind of makes sense. So that's why they're so round.
That's why they're so round. So the main cluster got cut out of the middle. Like
this is like the wing.
This is the wing. So normally the Grenache cluster wings are so big that what we'll do is we cut the main cluster off here, and then we just leave these 2 wings.
Wow. And do you feel like that provides better quality?
We do. We feel like that provides a lot better quality. We get a lot better color out of our Grenache.
Okay.
We used to do that both with the dry farming, has really helped a lot, and the in this variety with the vigor of it, because Grenache is just so vigorous. Like it just wants to throw massive fruit.
Right.
So really getting it to limit that quantity of fruit and really restricting the vines has helped a ton. To where, the quality over the last couple of years
just
on
the little shoulder
has been really, really fantastic.
That's awesome.
Really, really happy with it. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, so when we talk about farming, we talk about how much work it requires. So we run, as part of our sustainability program, we don't use farm labor contractors.
Oh, okay.
So we run we have 2 year-round crews, and they're all women's crews.
I like that.
Including women tractor drivers. and so yeah, we run all year-round crews, and they're all, basically their husbands, they all live in the local area, they all work, their husbands work here for farmers. And so it works out phenomenally for them and for us, because it's a really flexible job.
Yeah.
We've got 2 phenomenal supervisors. And so, if they have to take a son to school or they got to take a dentist appointment, they just sign out, go do it, come back, and then there's always work to do.
That is really nice.
So it's been really, really nice. It's been really sustainable because we really can manage the quality of the work in the vineyard. Well, as part of our sustainability program, again, that's socially equitable, economic development in the community. Really been excited about that program, but it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a 40-pound lug.
Yeah.
You're talking, in order to fill a bin, you're talking about 50 of those things.
50 of those little,
50 of those
little guys.
Lugs. So it's a lot of work. So one of the things that we're trying to do is revolutionize the way that we hand pick.
Okay.
To limit it. The hard part isn't picking the fruit. The hard part is lifting the yellow bin. Yeah. Carrying it, basically picking it up 3 times. Yeah. Before it's full enough to dump, and then taking it, lifting it up, and dumping it in there. It's just physically very, very demanding.
Yeah. So this is an example of a cluster that didn't get
thinned. This is what a normal
one cluster.
Like. One
so like this kind of section is what got cut off, right?
So that inside section got cut off.
Wow. Yeah. So you thought the other ones were? I thought my clusters were big. Okay. So we just walked a few rows over, and this is Tannat.
This is Tannat.
And is this also a solo
This is a
bottle?
solo varietal. Now this is basically in a French Bordeaux, a really famous French Bordeaux.
Yes.
This is a very small player.
Okay.
Like a 2 to 3% player in there in a Bordeaux blend.
Okay.
Really, it's generally very, very tannic, very heavy. But Mike just does a wonderful job with it.
These clusters are a little smaller.
Yes. And Mike does a wonderful job with it, and so we do make a standalone Tannat that is phenomenal. It's really, really good. It is definitely a heavy red.
Heavy red.
But really flavorful, really. Yes.
Oh, the leaves are so interesting.
Yes.
Like the leaves look very, they look like Like this is always what the rootstock leaves look like, you know?
Well, that's because that's a lot of it is from this parentage.
Yeah.
With some variety, you know, with 24 different varieties, sometimes you pick some winners and sometimes you pick some losers. And sometimes you pick some just because it's a super fun story.
Yeah.
So this has been one of those experiments. On the vineyard side, it hasn't really worked out well because of just the way it grows. Like we're still working on it. We've got some concepts. We're going to try and do some stuff that we've got actually in the nursery right now that we're going to be bringing out of more Norton.
Oh, okay.
We'll kind of get into that in a minute. But yeah, this is Norton. So this is an all-American varietal grape. This is what Thomas Jefferson made wine out of.
This is what Thomas Jefferson made wine out of. Okay, look at that baby.
So yeah, so you can tell this is not a vinifera if you look at the leaf.
Yes, the leaves look so different.
So different
than other, like what we're used to.
French, you know.
They're very like shiny and round.
And so this, no sulfur, no fungicide applications, no pesticide applications at all through the entire
It doesn't
year.
need any sulfur.
None. It actually does bad. Like sulfur damages the leaves.
Okay. That's a big one.
Yeah, no, this might be our best crop ever. We might get 2 tons to the acre on this one.
So Thomas Jefferson made wine out of this.
He did. So this is our all-American varietal.
Do you think this was just what was out here, you think?
It is. This is what's naturally growing along the river banks, and when they brought it over, you know, they were experimenting with it. Obviously, on the trade ships, they'd probably had wine, and so they knew the concepts and so this is what they were making wine out of.
Okay.
So yeah, and it tastes, it's good. It's notorious for having kind of a little what they call a boxy flavor to it.
Oh.
But Mike, we've put it in the bottle. It's very high acid.
Okay.
So normal bottle of wine, like it's like if you love sour beer, you're gonna love Norton.
Oh, okay. There we go for our beer drinkers.
Super tart. It's like super acidic, but still with really, really good fruit flavors.
Yeah, these ones look great. I have never heard of it before.
So no, this is really, really exciting. It's actually got quite of a cult following with us.
Oh, it does?
Oh, yes. No.
Because, probably a lot of people don't grow it, right?
Very, very few people grow it. And it's just very, very original to the area. It makes a very original, like a very unique wine. It's a great story.
Yeah. How much of it do you guys have?
So we have 3 rows.
3 rows?
3 rows, but we're expanding, actually. We've got another 3 rows planted.
Really?
Or planning to go in next year.
So it's that popular
It's that popular. Where even though it's not very economically sustainable on the vineyard side, it's that popular, and it's just that great of a story.
Yeah.
It's just something from the U.S. that we can provide and make just kind of a great story about. So it's been
okay. So if people want to try it,
yep.
If you've had it and you love it and you can't find it anymore,
yeah.
Now you know where to go.
That's it.
Norton.
So it's just interesting from a farming practice. One of the issues we've had is we grafted it onto 5C rootstock.
Okay.
Just like everything else. So
that looks like it's been there a little while.
That one's been a little while. Like, yeah, you can see the tape on that one. What we've come to learn since in our growth as farmers is that these Native American vines, they do not like to be grafted. They like to be own rooted.
Okay, I was going to ask about that if they were on their own roots.
They're not, and so that's the next planting will be own rooted because we think
that's going to be an experiment.
Yeah, they grow a lot of this vine in Virginia, up in the East Coast.
Okay,
and the grapes look totally different. They look like a normal Cabernet grape. Like they're much bigger, normal size.
And they're on their own.
And they're on their own rootstocks.
Okay.
There. So, and obviously,
isn't that interesting? Like a more native one.
Yeah.
It doesn't really need any of those things.
No,
the extra
doesn't need
things.
any fungicide. Doesn't need any protection. It totally can do that.
And then we bring these outside. Yeah, we bring the outside ones, and we're like, okay, how can we make it work?
Yes, that's it.
That is really interesting.
So yeah, that's part of the reason we're adding to the experiment and we're continuing to utilize it, because there's a lot of cross hybrids that are getting developed. There's always the GMOs and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of that cross hybridization of trying different things, of trying to find a product that end consumer loves, but that from farming practice is the most sustainable overall.
Yeah.
So basically trying to do that adaptation. So there's a lot of the new cross hybrids that UC Davis is coming out with. I know Penn State's working on a bunch.
That's pretty cool.
Up in Washington. And a lot of it is using the genes from these plants to try and combine the flavor profiles you get with the vinifera vines with our standard varietals that we're used to, but providing the native protections that the native vines already have implicitly in them.
These are not as small as I was expecting.
Like I said,
this is what I was expecting.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is your normal.
That's normal. Okay.
That's your normal. So yeah, like I said, the hand crews hate us when we come in here.
That is a really cool story. Okay, so we are in the tasting room
We're
now.
in our tasting room now.
And you're going to show me a few of your faves.
I'm going to show you, just some quirky, just some fun
not
things
the
that we're doing.
favorites.
Well, the
Right.
favorites, like I said, the favorites change every year. So there's always some new favorites.
Some fun things.
Some fun things. So
Okay.
yeah. So no, we're very, very blessed. We moved out into this barn about 1.5 years ago. And this barn was originally built circa 1900, like right around the turn of the century.
Okay.
And it was actually about a half mile up the road at my great-grandfather's house.
Oh,
and there's
this barn?
This barn.
Was
and
that
there's stories
a half mile up the road?
up the road.
Okay.
This barn. I know,
It's
it's
a
kind of
pretty
crazy.
big barn.
It's a very big barn. And so there's stories that like in 1908, they rolled it up here using mules and
Oh my
basically
gosh.
big timbers.
That's crazy.
And they actually rolled it up the road and then put it up here.
Wow.
So we're actually, this whole property, so this is my grandparents' house. This is where my grandfather lived. This is where my father grew up.
Okay.
Their house is just up, just right here.
Okay.
And so yeah, this was a hay barn forever and a day when they used to
Right.
have cattle that ran the levee. They used to, have a few minor livestock and then just for storage. Back in the day, and then
It's beautiful.
yeah, they
It
used
really
to
is.
load hay out. So basically, obviously, this area used to sell a lot of hay into Petaluma, into the dairies in Petaluma, and they used to load it out on the slough.
Okay, yeah.
So they would basically take the hay up, put it on a boat out on the slough,
Yeah,
and then
the
it would
river
go.
is right there,
it's
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Elk Slough, which is a tributary off the Sacramento River.
Okay.
So they take the slough out to the river, get on the river, and basically head down to San Francisco, then up the coast of the Russian River, and then in the Russian River to drop the hay off in Petaluma. So
Wow.
long story short, it's a fun little history. But
Yeah.
so that's kind of the history of this
That's
barn.
awesome.
So this barn was falling down, like it was in horrible condition. And so we got to build a barn kit out of the Midwest that matched the exact style of the barn.
A build-a-barn kit?
Build a barn kit.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. You can go online and look, build a barn kit, and in the Midwest, it's huge. And so we basically got the frame from the Build a Barn kit along with the exterior. So these timbers right here, like this is the original barn timber. This is circa 19.
Okay.
This is circa 1900, maybe 1898, 1902, somewhere in that time frame. So this is the original barn. So obviously we've stabilized the bottom.
Yeah. You've made it all modern.
Yeah. So and then the most of the interior wood is the Build-A-Barn kit, and then this is all the original exterior siding of the barn. So we took it and put it on the interior and lined the interior with it. We're able to do seatings by reservation only, so we can modify flow, modify traffic, and and we're doing by the glass and bottle service. We're not doing tastings right now, but
okay.
But other than that, we're operations as normal. And yeah, so we were out in the field, and the last thing we talked about was Norton. So this is the Norton bottle,
the all-American
bottle. So yeah, Karen and Monica, my cousin, is our graphic designer.
Okay, that's nice. You guys are all in the family.
We all are all in the family. And yeah, so came up with this fantastic bottle that's got a very Americana theme to it. And just really, really excited. The bottle came out great. The wine's phenomenal, and so it's super fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then Grenache was the other variety that we were picking today.
That's what we picked
and
this
so
morning.
we're gonna actually give that a little taste.
Okay.
So you'll have to there's a glass for you.
Okay.
So cheers.
Cheers. Do I need to swirl and smell?
You can if you want. The only thing you have to learn is you just have to know what you like.
Yeah.
And if you like it, that's great. Then you like that wine. If you don't like it, then you don't like it,
Yeah.
and why you don't like it. So
I feel like I'm growing my palate though.
yes, that definitely
Learning.
does occur. That
Yeah.
definitely does
Okay.
occur. So
There I go.
like this is a lighter style red.
I like it.
And
I like
you
that.
could almost drink it. Yeah, so like in a hot summer day, like you wanted something with a little bit more tannin to it than a white.
Yeah.
Then that had a little bit more,
I'm not a big red wine drinker, and I do really like this.
There you go.
So
That's
do you
Grenache.
feel like Grenache is a good starter for people that don't drink red wine, or am I
rosé, like that's the thing, like
Rosé.
rosé, like I really like rosé in the summer. So.
That was delicious.
Yeah.
I really like that. And then what's this one?
So this is the Purple Thread. So this is another very, very cool story.
Yes.
So Purple Thread, funny story about this. So my wife used to harass me forever when we first got married over 20 years ago. Because anytime the Purple Thread, which is that building over there,
yes, and I'll get a
which
shot
we'll take a look at that in a minute. So there was kind of a compilation in Clarksburg. My grandmother was involved on the board, but basically a family donated a piece of land right next to the post office, and then my grandma was instrumental in getting this building donated next to it. And for probably 30 or 40 years, it served as a community goodwill.
Okay.
So basically, people would take and donate goods there, and then they would resell them.
Okay.
And then all the proceeds funded the library.
Nice.
And so I need to verify this fact because I tell this story all the time, and I'm actually not positive, but I think Clarksburg has one of the only community-funded public libraries in the state.
Okay.
So basically, the library is 100% community supported. So the community pays for the library to be there.
Okay.
Even though it's still under the county public library system.
Yeah.
It's completely privately funded.
Wow.
And a majority,
that's pretty cool.
It is very cool, and a majority of that funding came from the Purple Thread.
Okay, so the Purple Thread was the store.
The Purple Thread was so about 10 years ago, the family that owned the property, it transitioned hands, and it wasn't going to be available for the Purple Thread anymore.
Oh.
So we were able to purchase the building back, and as part of that, we had already started our Purple Thread line.
Okay.
So this is basically what we call our library reserve. So Mike, brings all the wines in, makes all the wines on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And then after the wine's made, he's kind of tasting everything, and he identifies what he thinks the best, 3 or 4 varieties are for that year, for that vintage. He then takes those best 3 or 4 and creates a blend out of those, which is our Purple Thread.
Wow. Okay.
So
library reserve.
Yeah. So and then all the proceeds from the sale of this bottle get donated back to the community.
Really?
Yes.
I love that. So I mean, that is a direct you helping your community.
Yep. No. So we're really excited to be able to continue on the tradition that my
so if you guys are going to buy
started.
a bottle of wine, Purple Thread.
There you go.
It's available online too?
It's available online too. So all of our wines you can purchase online. We're not in a lot of retailers. We primarily sell direct to consumer here and then through our fantastic website. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and then a couple other fun things. So this is a bubbly rosé, so a little bit of a sparkling
yes, the
rosé.
cans are really getting in right now.
They are really getting in. And then we've got basically this is 2 glasses of wine in a can.
Now are these available online?
Those are available online too. Everything's available on our website.
Okay, I wasn't sure about the cans.
On our website. And we ship to how many states now, Carol? Like 25. So we ship to quite a few states. There's definitely some states.
There's some states that make it difficult,
Make it difficult, like Massachusetts.
You ship where you can.
We ship where we can.
And
hopefully you have a neighbor in a close by state. So we do
there
that
we
a lot with friends. So.
Okay, so we're gonna get a close-up of the Norton Bottle, which has a cult following, I'm told. But so if you want to try it, there you go. You'll find out if you like it. I love the American bottle. Could save it for 4th of July next year. Good, right? It's got probably a good 4th of July bottle. And then this is what we were picking just now, Grenache. Okay, and then I am so stoked about this one. I'm gonna have to tell my mom about this. Because even though it is a different county, she'll love this. She'll probably buy some.
Be interested. She probably would have more history on community.
Yeah, okay, and then we've got the two glass red blend, and then here's which this is what I like, the white sweet stuff.
Yes.
And then the bubbly. There you go.
You like the Grenache?
I liked the Grenache.
Yeah,
I did.
So probably like 13 or 14 wineries are in the Clarksburg, greater River Delta area now.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to get some of that marketing traction you get with when you put, the final product in a bottle and are able to sell it yourself. So
right,
it's really exciting.
It's growing. I'm going to try to get more of the Clarksburg wineries on here.
No, that's awesome. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So. Okay, so if people want to get your wine, so if they live in this area, come out to the winery.
Come out to the winery. Reservations only currently, but you can make reservations. We're open 7 days a week,
and then
11
you guys
to 5.
do like pickup, so like if people could order the wine and just come pick up. And
we also we're at about 5 different farmers markets in the greater Sacramento area.
Okay.
So Davis, downtown Sac, Elk Grove, up in North. So they can also order wine and pick it up at the farmers markets locally.
That's great to know.
And then we ship wine. We've got a great shipping program for club members because we appreciate their sponsorship and their being part of the family. Yeah. And so we ship wine to I think 24 different states now.
Okay.
And we've got that's our primary sales method is through our online HeringerEstates.com.
Okay, and I'll put a link in the description.
You can just Google us.
You can check it out and follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And not keep up with what's going on,
So.
Okay.
But no, thank you for coming out and spending the day with us.
Much.
We so much appreciate everything that you're doing and giving us a voice, us small farmers here in Clarksburg.
I always say I am a small potato.
We are small potatoes. We're all small potatoes in the grand scheme.